Well, welcome to my video. And yeah, so this is a video about Blender and Roblox Studio. And when you're working with Roblox Studio, yeah, there's lots of stuff you need to do the building and stuff in there. But if you want to do something really fancy, you want to build something nice, you got to use a 3D modeling software like Blender. So when using Blender with Roblox Studio, you just have to adjust some of the settings in there to make it work nice with Roblox Studio. So we're going to take a look at that right now. Let's jump into the video. All right, so when you first open up Blender, the first thing you're going to notice, you're going to have these three objects already in the default scene. We don't need those, so we're going to go and highlight all these, just kind of drag and select all these so we can delete them. Right click once selected and click on delete. So say we wanted to use this project to build a model that we want to use in Roblox Studio. So if we were going to do that, we could start adding in some meshes and objects and start building things in Blender as normal here. But to make things work nicely with Roblox Studio, there's a few things you want to change to make that work nicely. And if you don't, you're going to run into some problems. So the first thing we're going to do, we're actually going to demonstrate what will happen when you don't change those settings to make it all work nice with Roblox Studio. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go back to Roblox Studio, and let's just add a rig into this base plate template here. So go to Rig Builder, have R6 selected. So we're going to have just a simple little rig for this demonstration. And we're going to click on Block Avatar. All right, so we have this rig added to our scene. We want to put it at the 0, 0, 0 position. So with the rig selected in the Explorer, go down to the Properties, find Origin, and under Origin and Position, and change all those values for the X, Y, and Z to 0. So what we're going to do, we're going to export this rig and save it so we can actually import this rig into Blender, and then you could modify that or do something with it you wanted to, but we're just going to do some quick demonstration with it in Blender. So before we're going to export it and save it, we want to go to the rig itself and click on the expander in the Explorer to expand it, then find the head. We want to actually delete this little face decal because it's going to cause an import issue. So we're just going to delete it for now. We don't really need that for the demonstrations. Right click and just go and delete that. Then once you have that deleted, you can collapse the head and then close up the rig here. And then just going to right click on that. And let's go down to save and export. And we're going to go down to export selection. You can name this whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call this RS test rig. All right, and I have that on the desktop. So I'm going to save it to the desktop. Click on save. All right, so now we've exported this rig. We have it saved to the desktop. So now we can go back into Blender and we can import that into Blender. All right, so now we're back into Blender. We're going to File, and we're going to go to Import, then click on wavefront.obj. And then you're going to find that on our desktop. So click on Desktop, and I got this RS test rig that I saved there. So it has the material file to go along with it. But we want the OBJ file. So click on the OBJ file. Click on Import Wavefront OBJ. All right, so now we got to import it into Blender here. So for this first demonstration, I'm actually not going to really do much with this object we imported into Blender. We're going to just actually re-export this back out of Blender so I can demonstrate what will happen if you don't set up your project correctly first, because we haven't made the proper changes here in Blender to make it work nicely with Roblox Studio. So let's say that you're working on this rig, or you built this rig even from scratch right here in Blender, and you want to export this and use it in Roblox Studio. So we're going to go up here, we're going to go and File, with the file, and you're going to go to Export. We're going to export this as an FBX. This is a format that will work nicely with Roblox Studio. All right, and I'm going to export this to the desktop. We're just going to go B test rig. So we can see this has a little different for Blender test rig. So that's the name I picked there. Click on Export FBX. All right, let's jump back into Roblox Studio. All right, so we're back into Roblox Studio here, and we have this rig this is the one that we exported. So we're now going to import the rig that we just exported as an FBX out of Blender. So to do that, we're going to go up to Import 3D. Click on that. And on the desktop, we got the B test rig. So that was the FBX we exported. So click on that, or you may have named it something else. Click whatever you named it. Click on Open, and that's going to import this. The little import will pop up here. So click on Import, and now it's importing. And then look what happened here. So we've imported. This is the rig that we exported, but look at this. This thing is giant. It's just massive. So that's because we did not set the scaling properties correctly in Blender, so it wasn't really set up nicely so that things will be sized correctly when you import them into Roblox Studio. So to fix that, what we're going to do is let's just delete this big giant guy here, because we don't really need this big giant oversized rig here. We're going to get rid of that. And then we're going to go back into Blender, and we're just going to start from scratch here. So to start with a new fresh scene here in Blender, just go to File, go New, and click on General. You'll start out like you did at the beginning here. So you're back with the default scene with the camera, the cube, and the light again. So we're going to start just by deleting those again, highlight them, right-click, delete. But now we're going to make the settings that you need to make this thing kind of work nicely with Roblox Studio to get the nice proper scaling when you export things and import them into Roblox Studio. So the first thing we want to do is you go onto the right-hand side here, and you find this little, kind of looks like a, I don't know what it is exactly, but it looks like almost like a drop of rain, a circle. I guess it's some objects. It's just some meshes, or a representation of some meshes. So that represents the scene properties, so click on that. And then you want to find units. So we're going to expand units. And what we want to do is we're going to leave it at metric. We're going to change the unit scale to 0.01. And then we want to change the length down to centimeters. So we want things to be in centimeters. So when you do that, you'll see the grid here is now not really sized correctly how we want it. It's kind of stretched out too much, too large. So we want to adjust that as well. So to go up the top here, and you'll find this in the top right-hand corner here. You can click on that. It's the overlays properties. So viewport overlays, and you'll see under here is grid and the scale for the grid here. So we want to change this also to 0.01. All right, so now that we've made these changes, each of these grids represents 1 centimeter, and that's kind of the representation of 1 stud in Roblox Studio. So let's go jump back into Roblox Studio before we do anything and look at Roblox Studio. So we go and we'll zoom in, click F here with the spawn point selected, so kind of zoom in there, and you'll see like on the default grid here, you have all this grid with these little squares. So each of these squares represents 1 stud. And now with the changes made in Blender, our grid is also in 1 stud. So we can now import that rig that we exported, and it will be sized correctly and scaled correctly. So when we export it back into Roblox Studio, it'll be the right size. So let's do that. Let's go File, and let's go and import that OBJ that we exported from earlier, and go to Desktop to find it. So we have the Roblox Studio test rig that we created there. So let's go import wavefront OBJ. All right, so we got this little guy here now. We're not going to make any changes to him, but we're just going to leave him as he is so that we can just kind of export him back into. All right, so let's go File, Export. We're going to export as FBX again. And this time I'm going to point out a few things here. So you have to make some changes. They're probably already made on mine already because I've made these changes previously from what I've exported in the past. But so see how I have forward here is negative Z forward, and up is Y up. So actually, it's going to cancel all of this. Before we go and do this export, I want to point out something here. So you'll notice in Blender, so the up axis in Blender is the Z axis. Well, you'll see going up here is Z, and if you go back into Roblox Studio and go in here, and let's find the view selector. All right, so this up axes in Roblox Studio is actually Y. So the Z and the Y are not matching up. So if we don't have that corrected, things will not be pointed in the right direction and things will not work correctly. So you have to make sure that when you export those FBXs, that you have them exported with the right orientation. So let's go back and we'll do that. File, Export, FBX. We have the negative Z forward, and they have the Y up, so that corrects for that differences between Blender and Roblox Studio with versus the Y versus Z. All right, so I'm going to export this to desktop again, and this time I call it, we had a B test rig last time, so this is going to be B test rig 2, and we'll export that. Perfect. So now let's go back into Roblox Studio, and let's going to import this. So we got B test rig 2 this time. Click on open to import it. Click on import, and it's importing. All right, it's done. So there's our import. Look at that. It's now the correct size. It's not super giant because of the scaling issues that we had before. We now have it in here at exactly the same size as it originally was when we created the rig here in Roblox Studio. But you will notice something that's going to be a little different between these two rigs. So if we go back to the original rig and you go into the Explorer and expand on that, you'll notice you had all these various different parts for the head, arms, and things like that, kind of all separate parts. But if you go back to this one we just imported here, you're going to notice, oh, it's just one mesh here, one big object. So when you export things out of Roblox Studio as an OBJ and then import them into Blender, it just gets imported as one mesh. So what you have to do is you have to break that mesh apart. So break them into different parts. You want them to be in those parts. You have to go and kind of do some manual effort to do that. So we're going to actually look at doing that. But to make it a little easier to do that, what you might want to do is, say, let's go back to this original rig here. You might want to separate the parts out a little bit. So this makes that when you import them in to Blender, that they'll be a little bit easier to work with and easier to select so that you can split those into those various different parts. So say, for example, let's just do it again, but we're just going to split it into the arm. So we'll correct for that just for the arm, just for this demonstration here. So I'm just going to go here. Let's find the arm, left arm. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to drag this arm over. So there's a little bit of separation here so that when we import this, we can easily select that arm. So let's go and now export this again. Right click on rig and we're going to go save and export. Let's go to export selection. So we had it called RS testing rig. Let's do that again, but we'll just change this to 2 and click on save. So we have that saved to the desktop. We're going to go back into Blender and let's just delete this guy. So select on him and delete him. And let's just import that one that we made the adjustment with the arm. Let's go File, Import, Wavefront OBJ. All right, then find the RS testing rig 2 in the desktop there, .obj. Click on Import Wavefront OBJ. So you can see they have the arm here. Let's spin this around here. So we got the arm on the right-hand side here. That's kind of separate apart. So it's only one mesh currently, but what we can do, let's go into edit mode. So this isn't really a Blender tutorial itself. It's just kind of just how Blender works. You can make Blender work nicely with Roblox Studio. But say to do that, there's these different modes. You start off in the object mode. We want to go to the edit mode. You can usually hit tab, or let's just go up here and you can select edit mode. All right, so now we got our little guy here. I'm going to click on the Y here so we get a nice front-facing view of him. And I'm going to go into wireframe mode. So that's just this here. So go click on that. And I want to select this arm. So I'm going to select on here. That's going to select that whole arm. I'm going to click on P and click on selection. All right, so now that's been split into 2 parts. So let's go back into object mode. Let's go back to solid view up here in the right-hand corner. All right, so now here you have the main mesh here, and we have now the arm split off into its own mesh. So it's kind of making it more like what was in Roblox Studio. It has that for the arm, and then you could do that same process for the other arm, the legs, the head, so they can all be their own object that you can work with in Blender. All right, so then if we imported this back into Roblox Studio, you'd have those 2 different parts. So actually, I'll do that quickly here so I can show you that. So we're going to export this gun again. So go File, Export, FBX. I'm going to call it B Test Rig 3 this time. And export FBX. And then there's our rig that we had, but this is the one we had with the single mesh that we imported from before. But let's go and import again. Import 3D. Select the one we just named, B Test Rig 3. Click on Open. Click on Import there. All right, so there we go. So now if we go here to the Explorer with this guy we just imported here, he's going to have the mesh here. We didn't break this one up, so it's still one big mesh here for the majority of the character here. But then the arm is its own object there. So you could then now adjust that and put that back. All right, so we're back in Blender. I'm just going to delete both of these objects here. And I just want to show you the grid here. So remember we're talking about like each of these grids our one stud. So what we want to do to demonstrate that, just go up to add here, go to mesh, and go to cube. So when we add in a cube, it's going to be defaulted to, since we set it to centimeters, it's going to be 2 by 2 by 2 centimeters. So we can change that. You can just click on N, or go up here and you can go and expand this and go into item. We're going to change this to 1 centimeter for the all three axes. So 1, 1, and 1 for the X, Y, and Z. All right, so now we have a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter cube. So this cube is one of these squares in width and length and height. So we're just going to import this into Roblox Studio. So go File, Export, FBX. We're just going to name that to 1 by 1, Export FBX. Back here in Roblox Studio, we're going to import that, and then find the 1 by 1, click on Open, click on Import. All right, there it is. So look at that. It's perfectly aligns to the size of one of these squares on this grid here, because that's one stud, and now this 1 centimeter is equivalent to 1 stud in Roblox Studio. So when you're building your parts in Blender, it's going to make it easy to kind of size them correctly. So you want to make sure that your sizing things are going to fit in nicely. You don't have to rescale them. You can just use the default scaling. It's kind of nice to have that all set up so that you get nice size parts. All right, that kind of covers it for the video. So it was just kind of general introduction into what you need to do to set up Blender to make it work nice with Roblox Studio. So just adjusting the scene properties there, adjusting the units, adjusting the grid so it looks proper, so it's down to the 1 stud size, and then you're exporting, so you're using the right configuration when you're exporting there. So I hope you enjoyed the video. It'd be great if you subscribed, and yeah, we'll be making some more pretty soon, hopefully. All right, thanks. Bye.